For the big Season 10 of the finals, I hope to get a shake-up in the game instead of new stuff, or nothing. In many ways, the original cash-out game mode is pretty bad for ranked. You could straight up grief in the worst team to have an easier second round, meaning less skillful players and teams could get higher points in ranked for no reason, which is good and funny for casual gameplay but goes against what ranked is, which I think should be which team is most skillful and strategic, not lucky. And also on luck, with casual game modes you can have a match where you get absolutely destroyed, and then the next is easy. This is probably a problem of either not enough players or no skill-based matchmaking. When it comes to new content, adding new gadgets was never bad. There wasn't a single gadget that was implemented that was overpowered to me. Most of the time it was too new to know, or bad and ineffective. But on the other hand, almost every weapon that was added had a problem, like Pike, 9-3R, P90, Repeater, Shack, BFR, and even Spear. Weapons that I have a problem with are Spear, Flamethrower, Sword, Dagger, Throwing Knives, and KS-23, which I'll get into later. Once overpowered weapons that were nerfed are Pike and 9-3R. These weapons got a nerf with an emphasis on skill. Pike had 3 shots to kill on light and now requires at least 1 headshot to 3-shot light. 9-3R had the same nerf. You could 2-burst light, which is 6 bullets, but now you have to hit at least 1 headshot to 2 bursts, which I think these are good changes. Now on overpowered weapons that I think are still too good. Repeater can 2-shot light, which doesn't sound bad, but it's just a better revolver in pretty much every way. You attack slower, but you have more damage, bullets, range, and a speed reloader, and a scope, so guess how they nerfed it. Instead of the 9-3R Pike nerfs, they nerfed the range on a ranged gun. They did decrease the attack speed and the damage from 88 to 44, which only helps for heavy. BFR is the same-ish. It was supposed to be a sniper so you can 2-shot light, which doesn't make any sense. You have 350 health. But BFR is more punishing. You have slower movement speed and attack speed, and the reload is super slow. To be fair, balancing a sniper on the class with the most health is pretty difficult. But when it comes to Shack, you may have 20 bullets and you shoot 2 at a time, but it does way too much damage. On light, it has 5 shots to kill and a time to kill of half a second, with again 350 health. And my problem with P90 is that it takes no skill to get a time to kill of less than a second, on light. And they also buff the range on this close range weapon. Now on weapons that I hate. Spear is just annoying. It beats all other melee weapons and that's it. Each melee weapon has a unique ability. Sword, speed, dual blades, reflect, sledgehammer, destruction. But Spear only has range and AoE, which is only really useful against melee. Flamethrower is like a hyper-auto shotgun with fire damage. You erase lights and that's it. You only win fights against other classes if you get the jump on them, or you use insane micro. I love Sword, but it's annoying. There's skill in timing the lunge attack, but not in spamming the main attack. Dagger is fun, but unreliable. You have to hit a backstab to one-shot. So controllers can't turn fast enough without aim assist, and mouse and keyboard can just spin in circles to avoid a backstab. KS-23 is a fun weapon, but they balance it as a shotgun when it's a slug shot, aka big bullet. The reason balancing is so hard is that compressing all the damage of a theoretical shotgun to one bullet is basically what a sniper is. So they reasonably made it possible at long range but only usable at close range. But then they buffed the accuracy on it, which makes no sense. BFR has the same shots to kill as KS, but you have more range, accuracy, and a headshot. There's also a talk on weak weapons, like MGL, XP54, and Pike. MGL requires you to hit one bounce and then land near an enemy, which is very possible but ineffective. XP is hard to balance. I think it's supposed to be a mid-range weapon. M11 has no range, easy balance. ARN has lots of range, bullets, and an easy recoil, semi-easy to balance. But not only is the effective range of a mid-range weapon diminished by being able to run up to the enemy quickly, you can't balance ARN for only super long range. Making ARN viable would mean to cut into the mid-range. Pike is an example of nerfing something wrong and then right. They nerfed the recoil and then did a 9-3R Pike nerf, and nerfed the recoil again, making it extremely shaky and only possible to do enough damage to win a fight by spamming shots and hoping the enemy misses. Now when it comes to game modes, Point Break is fun if you're lucky. Sometimes you just barely win and sometimes you get destroyed. This isn't an issue of skill-based matchmaking or player count. It's because some points are easier to take or protect. You should get coins based on how well you do, so if you lose more coins you get more back. And the last thing for the complaining part is bugs. There's an intended or not annoying throwing mechanic where if you throw 2 grenades too fast, it throws the second one automatically. Most of the time, especially with Gateway, I end up throwing it away from the top of a building, or off the map. This is kind of a bug, but you can't change certain keybinds on controller. Like reload and arena carrybles get picked up by the same button. Now on the good stuff, a light specialization where you spawn in your statue could be useful, especially in ranked. It would still cost a coin, but you would have that long defib animation with half health, but with no invincibility frames. All you need to do to counter it is put a mine down. Medium being the support class could have a specialization where you get rid of all environmental dangers like fire, gas, smoke, and goo, and you could remove the burning effect off of teammates. A heavy specialization of creating an entire room is similar to the dome shield, but stronger and you can't shoot through it. Watch this simple animation by my expert animator to understand more. Another heavy specialization about destruction could be a freeze gun or blizzard machine, slowing down enemies and making structures brittle and slippery. And now gadgets. Light could have a goo mine to temporarily stun enemies. Medium needs a heal mine because H+ infuser is too effective. If your teammates step on it, it would make a heal cloud. It wouldn't activate if enemies stepped on it, but they can still shoot it. Medium could have a mesh helmet to protect a teammate from 50 headshot damage, and Medium could get the tracking dart back. Heavy doesn't have any glitches, so a giant EMP launcher would fit in similar to the Lockbolt. It would be like a giant glitch barrel. Heavy could also have the opposite of the anti-gravity cube, to tear down multiple floors and pin down enemies. Heavies can have Season 1 nukes back with the data overloader. As in the name, it makes barrels stronger. The last thing for gadgets is a mesh barricade, similar to a normal barricade, but it has less health and it can be walked through, like a barricade-sized dome shield. And now on game modes, a new LTM could be a pirate ship themed power shift, with arena cannons on the platform. A new game mode could be like capture the flag. There's one cash box and every second it's around one of the cash outs, you gain points, with extra points when it's cashed in the cash out. Another game mode could be a darkness game mode, where you have to use lights and tracking to see your enemies. Now I don't hope for exactly this, but I hope for something similar.